Welcome to the AI for Career Success video overview by Curt Robbins. We're experts at AI coaching and helping professionals like you and your employees upskill in AI.
Now that might sound like a premise from a spy novel, but in our digitally connected world, it's a reality. The very applications we rely on for convenience can create significant and, frankly, unexpected security risks if they aren't managed properly. Today, we're going to examine a recent incident that illustrates this point with startling clarity. Our analysis today is based on an article from TechCrunch written by Amanda Silberling. It's titled, "A French Navy Officer Accidentally Leaked the Location of an Aircraft Carrier by Logging His Run on Strava." For the purposes of this discussion, we're setting this incident on March 20th, 2026.
So let's break down exactly what happened here. As Amanda Silberling reports, a French Navy officer, while deployed, decided to log a run on the deck of a nuclear-powered aircraft carrier using the Strava fitness app. A seemingly harmless, everyday action, right? Well, the consequence was that the warship's precise location was broadcast publicly, all while it was on a strategic mission. This wasn't some sophisticated cyber attack. It was a simple, personal action that had major national security implications.
And what's crucial to understand is that this wasn't some kind of one-off mistake. As Silberling's article is careful to point out, this event is actually part of a much larger, recurring pattern of security lapses. These privacy issues, specifically related to this application, are well documented, turning personal fitness tracking into a pretty consistent source of security vulnerabilities.
To really grasp the scale of the issue, you have to look at the history, because this is not a new problem. In the past, aggregated data from Strava created what were called heat maps that publicly identified the locations and even the layouts of secret military bases all around the world. Then, more recently, in 2024, journalists were able to track the movements of French President Emmanuel Macron just by following the public Strava accounts of his security detail. So the 2026 aircraft carrier incident is really just the latest entry in a long-running series of security failures.
So you have to ask, why does this keep happening, even after all these high-profile breaches? Well, the answer isn't some complex hack. It's actually a very simple design choice that's built right into the application's architecture.
The core technological issue here is a principle known as default to public. And what that means is, when you create an account, the privacy settings are automatically configured for maximum exposure. All of your data, your routes, your workout times, your profile information, it's all shared publicly unless you actively go into the menus and change those settings to restrict access. This is the fundamental vulnerability at play. When you put these two settings side by side, the difference is, well, it's night and day. In that default public mode, any workout you log is essentially a public broadcast for anyone on the internet to see. To change this to private requires a deliberate manual action, and that one action transforms your data from a public signal into a personal log that's only visible to a circle of people you approve. It's really quite remarkable that the security of a nation's military assets can hinge on which one of these two radio buttons is selected. So how did the military react to this particular breach? As you might expect, the French military did acknowledge the incident, but they framed it as a failure of individual protocol, not as a systemic technological flaw that they could control.
According to Silberling's reporting, a representative for the French Armed Forces stated that the officer's action was a direct violation of existing guidelines. And this really highlights a critical intersection between human behavior and technology. You can have clear rules in place, but the convenience of an app combined with the user's lack of awareness about its default settings can still lead to pretty significant breaches.
Okay, so this is where we pivot from a military case study to something that's directly relevant to all of us. Because while most of us aren't tracking our workouts on the deck of an aircraft carrier, the underlying principles of data privacy are absolutely universal. The same vulnerabilities that expose a warship can expose your personal and professional information. And this really is the central question for every professional in the digital age. We rely on countless applications for our work, for communication, for personal well-being, but how many of us have actually taken the time to go in and understand and configure the privacy settings for each and every one of them? So what can you actually do about it? Well, here is a very simple, actionable framework you can use for any app. First, open the application settings. Then, find the section for privacy or data sharing. Third, take a moment to actually review who can see your activity and your data. And finally, change that setting from public to something more secure, like private or followers only. It's safest to assume the default setting is not optimized for your security. So if you take just one thing away from this entire incident, let it be this. Default settings are a product of business objectives.
Those objectives often prioritize things like engagement and network growth over your individual privacy. That means the responsibility falls to us to be proactive. Never assume you're protected, always verify your settings.
Thank you for watching. This is where we teach you AI and help you get smarter than your competition. If you like these videos, use the QR code at the beginning of this video to buy us a coffee or hire us to coach you or your employees in AI. We encourage you to subscribe to the AI for Career Success YouTube channel. Please like, comment, and share this overview to help us reach a wider audience.